Jensen, this is such an honor. Thank you for being here.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
In honor of your return to Stanford, I decided we'd start talking about the time when you first left. You joined LSI Logic, and that was one of the most exciting companies at the time. You're building a phenomenal reputation with some of the biggest names in tech, and yet you decide to leave to become a founder. What motivated you?
Chris and Curtis. Chris and Curtis, I was an engineer at LSI Logic, and Chris and Curtis were at Sun. And I was working with some of the brightest minds in computer science at the time, of all time, including Andy Bechtolsheim and others, building workstations and graphics workstations and so on and so forth. And Chris and Curtis said one day that they like to leave Sun, and they like me to go figure out what they're going to go leave for. And I had a great job, but they insisted that I figure out, with them how to build a company. And so we hung out at Denny's whenever they dropped by, and which is, by the way, my alma mater, my first company. My first job before CEO was a dishwasher, and I did that very well. And so, anyways, we got together and we decided, and it was during the microprocessor revolution. This is 1993, and in 1992 when we were getting together, the PC revolution was just getting going. You know that Windows 95, obviously, which is the revolutionary version of Windows, didn't even come to the market yet, and Pentium wasn't even announced yet, and this is all right before the PC revolution, and it was pretty clear that the microprocessor was going to be very important, and we thought, why don't we build a company to go solve problems that a normal computer that is powered by general purpose computing can't, and so that became the company's mission, to go build a computer. The type of computers and solve problems that normal computers can't. And to this day, we're focused on that. And if you look at all the problems that and the markets that we opened up as a result, it's things like computational drug design, weather simulation, materials design. These are all things that we're really, really proud of. Robotics, self-driving cars, autonomous software we call artificial intelligence, and then of course, we drove the technology so hard that eventually the computational cost went to approximately zero, and it enabled a whole new way of developing software, where the computer wrote the software itself, artificial intelligence as we know it today. And so that was it. That was the journey.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
Well, these applications are on all of our minds today. But back then, the CEO of LSI Logic convinced his biggest investor, Don Valentine, to meet with you. He is obviously the founder of Sequoia.
Yeah.
Now, I can see a lot of founders here edging forward in anticipation. But how did you convince the most sought-after investor in Silicon Valley to invest in a team of first-time founders building a new product for a market that doesn't even exist?
I didn't know how to write a business plan, and so I went to a bookstore, and back then there were bookstores, and in the business book section there was this book, and it was written by somebody I knew, Gordon Bell, and this book, I should go find it again, but it's a very large book, and the book says How to Write a Business Plan. And that was, a highly specific title for a very niche market. And it seems like he wrote it for 14 people, and I was one of them. And so I bought the book. I should have known right away that it was a bad idea, because Gordon is super smart. And super smart people have a lot to say. And they want to, and I'm pretty sure Gordon wants to teach me how to write a business plan completely. And so I picked up this book. It's like 450 pages long. Well, I never got through it, not even close. I flipped through it a few pages, and I go, you know what? By the time I'm done reading this thing, I'll be out of business. I'll be out of money. And Lori and I only had about 6 months in the bank. We had already Spencer and Madison and a dog, and so the 5 of us had to live off of whatever money we had in the bank, and so I didn't have much time. And so instead of writing the business plan, I just went to talk to Wilf Corrigan. He called me one day and said, "Hey, you left the company. You didn't even tell me what you were doing. I want you to come back and explain it to me." And so I went back and I explained it to Wilf. And Wilf at the end of it, he said, "I have no idea what you said." And that's one of the worst elevator pitches I've ever heard. And then he picked up the phone and he called Don Valentine. And he called Don and he says, "Don, I'm going to send a kid over. I want you to give him money. He's one of the best employees LSI Logic ever had." And so the thing I learned is you can make up a great interview. You could even have a bad interview, but you can't run away from your past. And so have a good past. Try to have a good past. And in a lot of ways, I was serious when I said I was a good dishwasher. I was probably Denny's best dishwasher. I planned my work. I was organized. I was mise en place. And then I washed the living daylights out of the dishes. And then they promoted me to busboy.